I'm the co-founder of Rose Park Advisors, which is an investment fund that I co-founded with Clayton Christensen. I'm also the author of Dare, Dream, Do, Remarkable Things Happen When You Dare to Dream. I blog at the Harvard Business Review. I'm a LinkedIn influencer, and my favorite social medium is Twitter. So you can follow me there at Johnson Whitney. First one is Clayton Christensen, no big surprise. I had first read his book, The Innovator's Dilemma, in 2005. That book and those ideas just captivated me. They helped me understand not only how businesses can disrupt and be disrupted, but then I started looking at them and thinking, oh, people actually can disrupt as well. Companies don't disrupt, people disrupt. So he's definitely one of my heroes. And then another one actually is Eunice Kennedy Shriver. And I don't know if you're familiar with her, but I really admire her because she was a woman who was the sister of Jack Kennedy and Bobby Kennedy and Teddy Kennedy. And her father said to her if she'd been a man, she might have made a great politician. Well, as we all know, she wasn't a man. She wasn't a great politician. But here's a woman who had been effectively shut out of the corridors of power. And then because of the love that she had for her older sister who was mentally retarded, she went to this place where no one was playing, which was to create an opportunity for people with mental retardation to be able to compete. And so she started this thing called the Special Olympics over 50 years ago now, that now is in hundreds of countries. More than 3 million people have competed. She played where no one was playing, and now I think one could arguably say has far more political power, or had more political power or leverage than many politicians ever had or will. And so she's really a hero for me as far as being a disruptor. She's been an example for me of understanding that sometimes when those doors of power that I think I need to walk through to get something done are closed, I can always go in the side door, the back door, or build my own door. And so she's been an inspiration to me as I think about certain things that I want to get done that I think I can't, but then I realize, well, I can. It may not look like how I thought it would, but I will get something meaningful done. My favorite disruptive change, I have two, actually. I mean, certainly I love Twitter. And I think one of the reasons I love Twitter is that first of all, you had blogs that disrupted websites, and now you have Twitter that allows you to communicate your ideas in 140 characters. And JP Rangaswamy, who's at Salesforce.com, he described Twitter as the pheromones of the internet, which I really love because Twitter allows you to find your tribe in a very sort of simple, easy, fast way. And so Twitter for me is a fantastic social medium. In terms of something that has been disruptive and changed my life, I would say it was the decision to write a book. When I first decided that I wanted to build a case for daring and dreaming and disrupting, I had these ideas, and I could have gone to a publisher and said, hey, publish my book. But the reality in 2006 was no one would have. I didn't have a platform. I didn't have a name that would allow me to do that. So I started at the low end. I started blogging, I started putting my ideas out there, I started socializing those ideas to the point that by 2009, 2010, I had a bona fide publisher come to me and say, we'd like you to publish a book. And so that's been, for me, both being able to see disruption play out very, very sort of real-time, organically in my own career and evolution. And so, yeah, the process of writing a book has been a disruptive process. In fact, I had this kind of epiphany, it's probably been about 6 months ago, where I had written in my book, someday I want to produce a documentary. I am going to produce a documentary. And I remember thinking, well, and I'm going to produce this documentary, I'm going to go out and people are going to give me money, and then I'm going to have, $2 million, and I'm going to produce a documentary. And I thought, oh my goodness, you are not drinking your own Kool-Aid. A disruptive approach to making a documentary would be to eventually get your own camera, to eventually start filming, to eventually start interviewing people. There is a disruptive approach that one can take to filmmaking, just as one has taken to writing a book. And so I've become much more aware of that and thinking, all right, So maybe I need to start learning things like iMovie, and maybe I need to start doing more videos so that I get comfortable with the medium. So that absolutely affected how I viewed this process of eventually producing and directing a documentary. The disruptive change that I'm currently struggling with is the decision to try to be a more hands-on parent and really invest in how I parent. It's very easy to go off and do our career. It's a very sort of easy, linear thing to do. And being a parent is very hard. And so, and in fact, as I think about the book that I wrote, Dare, Dream, Do, it was in the process of disrupting myself and looking at so many people that I know that parent so well and learning from this. In some ways, that book is an homage to them. I mean, people will say to me, how do I get my children to dream? And I'll say, well, they can't be it if they can't see it. So if I dream, then my children are likely to dream. I think the other thing it's allowed me to do is that there's this whole idea of, you know, well, my idea of you need to date dreams. Like, you don't have to marry dreams immediately. You can date them. You can speed date dreams. And so for me, I think with my children, I don't have to figure out how to do things perfectly. I don't have to plan like this summer. We're not planning a vacation of 3 weeks going to Europe, visiting every city with our children so that they can learn all the European history. It's more like, okay, well, where did diners, drive-ins, and dives go nearby us in Massachusetts? Let's spend an afternoon and go there and maybe see a site where one of our ancestors lived, or, you know, when they crossed the Atlantic Ocean. And so it's this idea of you can do things in really small pieces. And that daring and dreaming and doing isn't necessarily the big idea of disruptive, massive. It's small, it's incremental, and disruption takes the place at the low end, not necessarily at the high end.